Hello, I'm Dale, and I'm Mike, and this is the Dale and Mike Show. Any questions?
No, I have no questions.
Okay, any videotape?
Yes, we do have some videotape.
Okay, so what had happened when this sheriff took office is he did the very unusual thing of he had a liaison already and he chose another liaison instead. He had Keith Heck, who admittedly didn't always tell us everything that was going on. He might, understand or relate to the public about half of what was going on. So Dave Daniel picked Cheryl Walker, and now we hear nothing, absolutely nothing about what's going on with the sheriff. So I asked the following question.
Mm.
The previous sheriff had some difficulties. He wasn't shy about mentioning this in his relationships with the county commissioners. How have your relationships been, and do you anticipate they will continue to being a Shangri-La situation, or do you see
I don't think
waters ahead?
Yeah, I wouldn't. Oh, there's always going to be bumpy roads and rough waters ahead. There's no doubt about it. I mean, anytime you have, it's my job to advocate for public safety primarily in Josephine County. Secondarily, I need to also consider the entire scope of it. Well, it's their job to not necessarily, primarily look at what it concerns me the most. They first have to look at the overall picture, and then they can start looking at. So it's almost like we're not at odds, but we look at it two different ways initially.
Okay, but let's say in the current situation where there is some debate amongst the commissioners and the budget committee as to whether to take public works dollars, road dollars, and give those to the sheriff's department for rural patrol. Now, I have learned over the weekend and doing a lot of research on this that there are certainly most of this decision is a political one, because there are the people in public works feel like this is our money and we don't want to give it up to the sheriff's department. And the commissioners may have, like, let's say Simon Hare, who's the liaison to public works, may feel like, hey, that's my department. It needs to be looking good while I am the liaison to it.
Sure.
So these are issues. And at some point, you, considering the political implications of getting that money and having the ability to be out on the road more, I wonder if it wouldn't be a good idea to say, hey, listen, guys, why don't you just cut through all the Barbara Streisand and
He means BS.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for clarifying that, Dale. And get that money for me, and more importantly for the citizens. I think that you would have a tremendous amount of political support behind you.
Yeah, I just got off the phone as I was walking in with Simon Hare about this exact very issue, because I called him. I tried to call the other day, Friday. I couldn't get a hold of him, so I wanted to call him today, and I did. I advocated for the money. I mean, my job is public safety.
Which amount of money? The 500 or the 1 million?
I'll take the whole lot.
Or both.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take the whole lot. But I made it very clear to him that if in fact they were going to if they were going to allot some money, I don't. Again, Dale, you and I spoke about this. I don't want one sum in just a year. I need a couple years, because otherwise it doesn't even have the close appearance to being sustainable.
Or take the one sum and divide it into 2 years.
Correct.
So how do you feel about this? Because this is something that people cannot help perceiving when they're looking at this situation from the outside, that perhaps because this is a political situation, that certain people may be withholding that money as a means of punishment, or because of the fact that they had advocated for the levy, they can't have anything good happening behind the defeat of the levy, things of that nature.
Or they're stuck in one position and can't get out of it.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys, I don't know about that. I mean, I certainly can't speak for everybody else out there. I know in my eyes, there certainly is no animosity. I mean, I advocated for more funds in the form of a tax. I'm advocating for more funds in the form of rural road dollars. I just would like some more funds. I would like it to be sustainable.
Well, how would you feel about it
but I don't think it's punishment.
How would you feel about it if you knew that the money that you could use for the benefit of the people of the county was being withheld from you for political reasons?
That would make me very unhappy.
Have you reached unhappy yet, or are you still waiting?
I'm still, well, this thing is still in the works,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm working, you know, individually with the commissioners to try and find resolve to it, so where we can get some funds. I also understand that they have a big picture to look at, and you know, that's their job, you know. It's not my job.
Well,
to run
and
this county. It's just to run
this
the
is
sheriff's
where
office.
you have to be political, where we don't have to be political. I personally think that money needs to come to the sheriff's department because it's a benefit to the people of the county, and that is the oath, for the lack of a better way of putting it, that they agreed to.
The prime function of government.
It's the prime function of their government, and we don't have a president of Josephine County, but we do have a board of commissioners, and that really should be their main concern. That's my stump speech on it.
Remember though too, and I'm not advocating either way here. I'm just saying that
You're not?
the monies that they're talking about. No, not. Let me finish.
Okay.
The monies that they're talking about. This is not a sustainable group of. I mean, this money is finite.
Right.
This does not solve our situation.
No, it doesn't.
Oh no, but wait, sorry, but if you pull into a gas station, if you're in a rest area and you've run out of gas, you're going to take your 1 gallon gas can and go down and you're going to get 1 gallon. Well, that's not sustainable. It'll get me to the gas station.
It could.
Isn't that enough
Absolutely.
for now?
Yes.
In this emergency situation?
Right. But the other gas station has only got 5 gallons of gas.
Yes.
So you take all that 5 gallons of gas, you put it in your car, and guess what? There's no more gas, and nobody else gets gas either.
Yeah.
So,
However, as has been stated, the roads in Josephine County are in pretty good shape, and this money that's in the fund and the amount that adds up to varies depending on who you're talking
Yeah,
to.
from $1.95 to $8 million.
Right. So,
And in the reserve, not for the daily use.
yes. So the idea that the sheriff is going to deplete that money and somehow they're not going to be able to fix the roads next year that's not true.
It doesn't match with what they've said. And we also get extra money coming in every year.
Yes.
Now, fellas.
Anytime you put gas in your tank, the tax on that gasoline is going into the fund that replenishes their funds. So
Will you come on Wednesday? And are you going to stand up and tell everybody what you think in this now political job that you have?
we'll see. I don't know.
Well,
Leave it up in the air.
I'll tell you what. If you have watched specifically, I think it's Friday night show or is it Saturday night, where we're telling people, watch the videos that we put up on the budget committee that have Margaret Goodwin advocating for the use of that money, and then go directly to the commissioner's homepage and send them an email and tell them that you want that money to go to the sheriff's department.
Encourage them.
Well,
you
they
don't
know.
have to beat them up. Just encourage them.
No,
No,
listen,
each one of them individually know that I want the money.
Right.
There's no hiding that.
yes. However, we have seen this happen a number of times where there's a contentious issue. Not very many people know about it, but all of a sudden, some of the people in the quick reaction force that is these people that go to the weekly business session every week, it's the same people every week, by the way, finds out about it, tells everybody, hey, this is going to happen. And then people show up in force, and all of a sudden the board has a different mindset
A
about
complete
things.
change of heart. Why we
Yes.
never intended to do it that way in the first place. We've
So-
seen that.
And this is the plan as it relates to this money here. We're going to be encouraging people to go to the weekly business session.
And say good, supportive things. Good things. I'm encouraging them to say good, supportive things, Dave.
Mhm.
Well, what more support do you need from us?
Yeah.
None.
Yes.
And I appreciate that. You know, it would be irresponsible for me as the lead public safety official, elected official in Josephine County, not to advocate for more public safety funds.
Does it sound to you like that's what we're trying to encourage you to do
Absolutely.
publicly?
I tell you, your message is loud. Your message is loud and clear.
Oh, I just wanted to hold my light under a bushel, but okay.
Yes. It's just, boy, I've yet to hear a satisfactory explanation of that term.
It's not me, it's the Bible.
Yes, okay.
Well, it's a good thing that we put that in at the end of it, because that was the cherry on top of it there. Oh, you're still muted, Dale. I hear you not.
That's right. Okay.
There we go.
When was the last time you heard anybody on television or radio or the newspaper or whatever slightly debating with the sheriff or any newsmaker?
I'm telling you, you know what? You don't see stuff like this. And I didn't realize, how powerful that really is until you watch it back. You go, wow. I mean, this is big stuff. It really is.
And it's not in the Courier. Not a single word. This is all happening, all these debates, these videos, and we know at least a couple of them are watching the videos of the Courier. Not a single word.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, that's amazing. And I'll tell you, people, there is more of this video to come. The best you haven't seen yet. It's coming. So
it is. It is. The thing is about all this is, why is it that this other medium in town doesn't want to tell you the story? What? It's certainly not in a news release.
Oh, let's stop trying to prod them into doing the right thing. Let's just continue kicking their rear ends.
No, I'm not trying to prod them.
Dealing
I'm
with
trying
stuff
to
like this.
encourage our viewers to cut off their subscription to the Courier. We're going to tell you what they're saying anyway. Okay, they're saying nothing. One of the things that we do, and Mike and I had a long talk about this, just so that you know what's behind the scenes about what we're doing. If we're going to tell you stories based on press releases, as the Courier does, then you're only going to get the publicity department of the county commissioners telling you the news. And it's not all there. It's like a missing lower third under Mike's picture. It's just not all there.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, that's right. So what we try to do is we engage in a little pattern recognition. Okay. Many times when you're looking at the news, let me put it this way. If you depend only on press releases, you're only going to get a third to half of the news, because they even changed their minutes. Well, I don't like the way I sounded that day, so I think I'm going to change it to I said something else. They do that. So this written word directly from the commissioners, some people are saying, why, they're the best commissioners we've ever had. They're liars and cheaters. I mean, there's just no two way around it. And so what we try to do is we try to look and understand what's behind the story and kind of put it together for you. Let me give you an example. And this won't be tedious. It's going to be fascinating. You'll see. One of the best examples of follow the money was involved with the Watergate story of Woodward and Bernstein. They wrote the book, All the President's Men. And this very brief little missive here is from their interaction with their editors. Woodward is talking to his two editors, and he says, according to White House personnel, Hunt, that's E. Howard Hunt, definitely works there as a consultant for Colson, Chuck Colson. But when I called the White House press office, they said he hadn't worked there for 3 months. Then the PR guy said the weirdest thing to me, quote, I am convinced that neither Mr. Colson nor anyone else at the White House had any knowledge of or participation in this deplorable incident at the Democratic National Committee. And one of the editors says, well, isn't that what you'd expect him to say? And Woodward says, absolutely. So I never asked him about Watergate. I only said what were Hunt's duties at the White House. They volunteered that he was innocent when nobody asked if he was guilty. So sometimes what they don't say or the way they deny things is more important than what's in the press release. Mike, what is your reaction to that, buddy?
Yeah. There's a lot of news happening in this county that just isn't covered because it doesn't occur to people to do that. And, we are going places because, we have a drive. We're following certain leads and no one else is following those leads. And it takes us to certain places where other people just aren't going because they don't really want to know. And as Dale put out a video here the other day that really illustrates it, they talked to Joseph Rice for 15 minutes.
It was 18 minutes.
And they put up 13 words or
13
something.
seconds.
Like 13 seconds.
Yes. 18 minutes.
Yes. And, which didn't encapsulate what happened there at all, So, we're trying to give you some longer form stuff. We're trying to give you a feel of who these people are that we're talking to. And, I think that you can get that. I'll tell you, what I got out of our time with the sheriff is that he is sincere about trying to get funding for his department. He is sincere about trying to do the right thing. And we can all differ upon, whether or not he's making proper decisions. But I believe the guy is sincere about it. I do.
Well, the other thing that happens now that we're doing this nightly show, and now a lot more people are watching us, Mike is following in social media, and occasionally county employees go onto social media and either promote this during work hours or don't promote that or whatever. And they're talking, and well, nobody's watching that. That's where a lot of the action is happening. Or you'll go to a meeting and then people will be saying, well, I talked with so-and-so, my friend, and what he told me was, and we're like, and if they want to say, well, this is on background, that's okay. Just don't tell us that after you've told, whoa, by the way, everything I said during the last hour was off the record. Oh, no, you need to tell us ahead of time. We're nice about it. But the other thing that happens is we get phone calls or emails, sometimes directly to us, sometimes to someone else because they're afraid to talk directly to us. I don't know why, but mostly they just tell us, oh, by the way, I work in that office and here's what's actually happening. Don't you want to know that? Or are you going to wait for a press release?
Yes, exactly.
Now the controversial part for us is occasionally we get, I'm going to assume, well-meaning people that are right about half the time. I mean, they'll tell you something, and then you go back to them and you say, now, you said this. Now, was it this or was it this other? Oh, well, it was this. I said, now, careful. Well, it was actually the other. The other? You try not to yell at them. What do you mean? It's not what you first said? Well, it's a little of both. No. Listen, you need to tell us what actually happened. Well, I'm saying, and then later you hear about this person and they're talking with somebody else. Oh, you got to hear this. And then the guy's on the phone and I say, now, wait a minute. That's not what you said to us when we're standing out on the sidewalk. Well, I'm saying it now. Now, what are we supposed to tell you? We have not told you stories because we try not to be just rumor mongers, but you're just simply not going to know what happens if you don't read some of the tea leaves, or I don't like that term, or if you don't look at the patterns, or if you don't understand that they're floating a trial balloon. They don't mean this. They're not going to do this. They want to find out what your reactions are. And they float trial balloons with us more often probably than anybody else outside the Rotary Club, right?
Oh, I prefer to refer to it as postulating a theory.
Well, okay. We're postulating. we're poking the pustules on the bottom. Never mind. But anyway, so
yes,
what's happening at this moment is everybody that's anybody in local government, city or county, is pushing really, really hard now that the levy has failed for every kind of tax you can imagine. You see what this says over my shoulder. Right? If you don't see what it says everything can be cured by raising taxes. And it's a bunch of people in a surgery room with a clown.
Yes.
So we have 6 different kinds of taxes. You can call them whatever you want, but they're taxes that are being floated as trial balloons right now. And I promised I won't ask Mike what the 6 are because I had to write them down. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
One of them is.
I do have one of them here. This is the big elephant in the room here.
Yes, sir.
Is this one? And you know what? They're already saying, you know, the pro levy people in social media are already going, well, you should have voted for the levy because now you're going to get this, and they're going to tell you how to spend your money, and then, you know, you're not going to get to spend it the way you wanted to because, you know, the oversight committee would have had control and would have made sure that money was spent the way it should be.
The oversight committee, yeah, they come from all walks of
Yes,
the Rotary Club. Yeah, right. The oversight committee.
The unnamed, unknown oversight committee that will be marionettes, you know.
Right. Oh, you could trust them just as you've trusted us with everything. You know, on this subject of House Joint Resolution Agenda 21 or whatever it's called, SOS has actually put out a little letter saying, you know, upon further reflection, we really want local control, so we're not going to back up House Joint Resolution 21. Now, to put that letter in perfect context, Jay Meredith, who is the Grants Pass City finance director and just happens to be in charge of SOS, go figure, how's that possible, right? And their phone bank is the union, and yeah, right. Oh, it's got nothing to do with government. Yeah. Okay. So he writes this one little telling sentence, and here's the sentence. I'm going to pause a little bit on this sentence. I'm going to talk just a little bit about this sentence so that you understand where these guys are coming from. He says in this letter, written by SOS, signed by him, sent off to the legislators who are considering House Joint Resolution 21, which would impose upon everybody in the state a $2 minimum tax. Okay? $2 minimum. And where are we? 58 cents. What he says in this letter, a very telling sentence. SOS, securing our safety, and he's describing what they're about. Okay? That we have over 1,000 members and growing. Now, Mike, you've been to lots of SOS meetings in the past. I've been to some relatively recently. When you were there in the past, at the height of their popularity, and you were there with them on the forestry committee, how many people maximum did you ever see at a meeting? Maximum.
Maximum, I'd say probably 50. At best, there might have been 50 people there.
But there's 1,000 members and growing. After the levy was defeated, they're growing. Don't you realize they're gaining momentum?
Yes. Now, they always said, well, you know, we have this, you know, this mailing list. It's like 300 or 400 names, you know, and I also... when I was in SOS, we went to the county fair and we had a booth there and we were collecting people's names and email addresses and all that kind of stuff so that they could be in the loop on this, and be a part of SOS. And, you know, at that time they said, you know, we had probably 300 or 400 members. And from what I've heard, the most recent meetings are extremely sparsely attended, and I haven't been since probably.
I've been to some relatively recently before the levy was defeated, and there were between 12 and 16 people there. Okay, so for him to say, for Jay Meredith, the president of SOS, to say they have 1,000 members and growing, currently growing. They're not growing. And maybe they never did have 1,000 members. And if there's 300 people on their mailing list, we know about mailing lists because we have some.
Mm-hmm.
500 plus is not 1,000. 250,000 views
Yes.
is not 5 million views. And we don't buy views for our videos as the pro levy people did. They just bought them. So my point is, why would SOS send an official letter to state legislators claiming that they're bigger and more influential than they are?
Well, I guess because they want to, they want to have a greater influence. So what did they say in there? Now, from what I heard, it's, they're not entirely for it.
No, here's what happened. This is to the best of our knowledge. Now, we're going to share with you what we've heard. But as you heard, one of the people has kind of vacillated on his view of this. I mean, it was said at one point, well, he was at a Rotary Club meeting. No, this guy was not in a Rotary Club meeting. He was in an SOS meeting, the best that we can figure. Sometimes you just have to put the facts together and come up with your best conclusion. We'll share what we know. But because some people are sort of changing their stories around, we have to be very careful, and we don't want to mislead you in any way, okay? What it looks like happened is that there was an SOS meeting where Cheryl Walker was talking about the details of the $2 minimum tax that could be imposed by the state. Now, a number of people have said, this thing is not going to pass. It's just not going to pass. At that meeting was Keith Heck. Now, they were talking about county business in a quorum. Well, now, Dale, you cannot say they were breaking the law. There are many interpretations of that. No. And let me tell you why we know that that's breaking the law. Because Keith Heck has said 3 times, I know we're breaking the law, and I don't care. So all of the legal experts in the world can march right in here and say, well, there are many meanings to the word is. No. Keith Heck has admitted that he knows they're breaking the law and he doesn't care. He said it 3 times. So it doesn't even matter if it is against the law. He thinks it's against the law, but he's going to do it anyway. That's what really matters. And so there's Cheryl Walker and Keith Heck, and she's talking to SOS about the glories of, is she promoting? Is she giving them information? Well, let me ask you this. 2 levies ago, the county commissioners decided to send out in your property tax bill an informational little flyer thing about the levy and all the things it would pay for, why it would do this and it would do this and it would do this other wonderful thing. And it's so lovely. They never said you must vote for it. They just are telling you what a lovely idea it is. Well, that's not promoting anything. That's just sharing information. You know what?
Right.
We're not stupid.
Yes.
So when Cheryl Walker goes to a meeting and shares information, well, that's not promoting anything. You know what? We're not stupid.
Right.
We may play someone like that on TV, but that doesn't mean that we are. Okay. That's one of them. Okay. The other big one is the Grants Pass City has decided to consider, I hope you're sitting down, a sales tax.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that has another one with a long history of victory.
Well, it's definitely something Rika Brown has suggested. Why? There should be a sales tax. And we talked about this last night. The idea is if you have a car dealership in this city, in Grants Pass, and Medford doesn't have a sales tax, and we do, would you consider going to Medford? You're not going to do that for a hamburger, but might you consider going there for a big ticket item? Well, we can adjust this any way we want to. Well, sure, and it would not go up. Why? What would you make you think it would go up at any point, Mr. Matthews? Well, maybe it's some experience in
history.
Yeah, history. Yes, that's possible. Right. Sales tax. What a brilliant idea. Yes.
And, do you know that there are places? As a matter of fact, I'm from Napa. That's where I'm from. It's like 10 cents down there, right now. 10 cents on the dollar. For crying out loud. This is what happens when you let the camel's nose into the tent. Now, when I was a kid, it was 5 or 6 cents. And the fact that in 40 years it's only gone up 5 cents is amazing to me, considering what they'd really love to do. But and I expect in the next couple of years it'll probably bump up to 20 cents.
Yeah, well, another
20%.
way to look at that is from 5 cents to 10 cents is this doubled.
Yes, right, exactly.
It's only 5 cents. Why, 5 cents is more than enough to buy what? What does 5 cents buy?
Well, you know what, and they can't cite inflation in there, because as inflation goes up, so people charge more for whatever it is that they're selling, and you have to pay more in tax. So they're getting more money as the money becomes inflated. So no, they just like to blow money out of a cannon. That's what they do with it down there.
Well, I know where they're blowing the money out of, but we're not going to say it here. Look, the other thing is that the city councilors, by the way, 4 of them are up for election, and so is the mayor. That says more about us than I ever imagined. Look, what they say is, well, we really need this money, and it is a lot better than imposing on it on you without a vote at all. Well, it is a little better than that, which is exactly
Yes.
what they did.
Yes, and they plan to do again. By the way,
Yes.
that's another thing, is they plan on renewing. That's what I heard.
Well, maybe not, because on today's KJO, so you don't need to listen to that dumb KJO. You can talk to us and we'll tell you. On today's KJO, a couple of them said, well, that's going to sunset because we promised you it would sunset. We promised. So it's going to sunset. It's going to go away. Lily Morgan, in case she's your rep, she's mine, said, oh, well, let's not do what we promised. Really? No, let's not sunset that. Well, let's keep that in there, and we can do this too. Nice. And then someone else suggested, here's tax number 3, why we could do a property tax here in the city that's even high. Oh, yes.
Yay!
Well, why not do them all? Yeah, to do all, because you know why they say they can do this? Because an overwhelming 55%, really, of the voters in the city said, yes, we believe
We're
that
for the
everyone's,
levy. Yeah.
Yes. An overwhelming 55. Really?
Yes, and you know what, you 55% people, do you understand what you're doing when you tell politicians, I'm for taxes? They go, okay, get ready for some, because here they come. Here's one, here's another, here's another.
And that's just 3 out of the 6. We're telling you about 6 taxes tonight that they're floating, and that's just half of them.
Yes. Nice.
Now, the next one is the next SOS levy, because they are planning that. Their next levy, their next property tax levy. It's sure to pass this time. Why? 9 times in a row. Well, the 10th
That's
time
imagination. That's imagination for you, let me tell you.
It's more than I ever imagined. Yeah, right. And see, they're convinced that they're growing. They're convinced they're growing. 1,000, which they never had, 1,000 members and growing. This is like Cheryl Walker going to a state legislature and talking about, well, I represent the public and this is what they say. Cheryl Walker, you cannot tell people you represent what the people say. Remember her point of view about what the people were saying about the ordinances that were defeated 80% to 20?
Well, I think her barometer is just 180 out of phase. That's all.
You think? Right. And that's 4 out of 6. The next one is an additional different tactics with the sin tax. Well, if you want to call it that, English teachers, a sin tax on the lottery taxes, the amount that's taken out of playing the lottery. Okay, this would be done by the state, and the county government is really hot on this idea. Now, this was, try to remember that guy's name. He's with SOS, Cliff Thomason, and Cliff Thomason wanted the commissioners to fund a mission that he was on to travel up to Salem and spend some time lobbying the Salem legislators with economic development funds to change the way the economic development funds come into the county. Woohoo! And legal counsel, you can't do that. And boy, Keith Heck still looks upset about this. It just came up today. And Keith Heck was like frowning at, well, he does a lot anyway, but frowning again, yeah, we can't spend the money on that. No, you cannot spend economic development funds on lobbying our state Congress. We spend it for everything else. Why not on that? They're spending it on salaries to augment the salaries, which must always go up, of county employees.
Yes, of course.
Because you don't understand, everyone. If they have higher salaries, why economic development and prosperity is just around the corner.
Yes.
So to those in social media who are saying, oh, they're such wonderful commissioners. Why, you're totally wrong. Why, they're not corrupt in any way. You know what? Bleh. Okay? That's number 5.
Yeah.
And then number 6 is Cliff Thomason. I saw him today in the hallway. I was waiting to go in to see Wally Hicks, our county legal counsel. You know, the fellow that Cheryl Walker would like to set off behind glass so that you can't just go in and see him because he maintains an open door policy. Well, this glass partition will fix that. Nice. So Cliff is telling me, Cliff is the guy that said to me that if you take out 10% for the overhead costs, that's all that it is, from the sheriff, he'll get back 15%. No. Oh, no. What I meant to say was, if you take out to 10%, it's really not 10%, it's only half of 1%. Cliff, buddy, the same day he said this to me. You need to get the story straight. So now what he's saying is, you know what we really need? And they talked about this briefly on KJO show with the city councilors. We could play back for you clips, but it was kind of boring, actually. Same stuff that we've heard many times, except they were defending the logo, which is just lovely. Please do. Okay,
Yes.
It's better than I ever imagined. Cliff was saying what we need and what he's pushing for now is a consumption tax. You mean if you've got, what is it, that lung disease or something? No, consumption tax. And I said, Cliff, a consumption tax, you mean a tax on things we consume? That's right. And I said, Cliff, that's a sales tax. Well, actually, a sales tax is a subset of a consumption tax. Cliff. No, it's not a sales. Well, even Dan DeYoung said from the city council said on today's KJO show, you know, they can call it anything that they want to. Even he's saying this. But, you know, a sales tax is a sales tax. That's tax number 6. Have you seen a theme to this?
Yeah, but wait a minute. Sales tax earlier and a consumption tax. If those are the same thing, then how can they be 2 things that we're adding up to 6 here?
Well, one has a fancy schmancy name. He says, no, this is, Dale.
Just so what you're saying is there are 6 proposals out there.
6 trial balloons. This is not a sales tax. This is a consumption tax. This is a blather tax. This is a Fremex class tax. This is a Wignets tax. It's a tax. They can't stop talking about taxes. Now, they're putting so much imagination. Everybody, look at all the imagination they're putting into giving them different names, different kinds of taxes, but they're all taxes. If they put just 1 ounce of that imagination into actually funding the sheriff with money that's available, or maybe coming up with some other way, but here's the base problem. The person in charge of economic development, which some people think would help our county situation, is Cheryl Walker.
Yeah, inspiring.